All I hear is talking, I don't sweat that. If they don't trust me either, I respect that. If she be down the ride, oh, I bet that. Ooh, I slide for my people, don't forget that. Don't forget that. Don't forget that. Ooh, I slide for my people, don't forget that. Don't forget that. Don't forget that. Ooh, I slide for my people, don't forget that.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is JH. How y'all doing, Postal family? Is everybody good? Is everybody cool? Are you clean, crisp? Are you feeling irate today? Let's talk. I've been talking about a lot of things going on in the news recently, and so we're going to switch gears today. We're going to talk about some reality, the reality of the future being the present, and how we need to adapt with our own personal lives. This is not more so of a direct postal video. This is more so of a life video. So if you want to stick around, let's talk. I'm about to show you a video of what's going on at Amazon and how they invested $1 billion into some robots. Now, these ain't your regular robots where they just replace a person because it's a bundle sort of robot or something of that nature. These are actually robots that are replacing humans. I want you to take a look at this, skim through the video, get the little pieces of that, and then come back and we'll talk about what's happening right now and why we should be concerned. And before you think that I'm gaslighting and say we shouldn't be good, oh, you always. Listen, I spoke about these consolidations over a year ago, and everybody, I told you and I warned you guys, and everybody downplayed it. Now that it's happening, so I'm giving everybody a heads up on what the possibilities could be. Take a peek.
Before now, robots could only replace part of a human job, enough to make coffee or an omelet. But this is Digit, a robot its makers say is ready to do what human warehouse workers do.
And it can lift about 35 pounds. You know, the robot weighs about what a person would weigh. It can reach about the size of what a person can reach. You know, we're really going for that kind of like OSHA regulations and requirements for the robot.
Agility Robotics is funded in part by Amazon, which is investing $1 billion in new industrial technologies. Amazon has already started testing Digit in its Seattle Robotics Research and Development Facility, potentially adding to the company's fleet of more than 750,000 robots. And the company's investors have big ambitions for them.
The fact that it can enter places that were designed for humans and solve those challenges that exist without having to rebuild the environment for automation.
And it doesn't quit.
And it doesn't quit.
They're about $250,000, so they're not inexpensive. But, you know, over just a few years, they're worth it.
As of 2022, Amazon employed about 36% of warehouse workers in the U.S., a workforce that often complains about the injury risk of working to get packages to customers in 2 days or less, according to OSHA. Amazon says the safety of its employees is its top priority.
I just really feel this is Amazon's attempt to focus their attention away from those of us that have been injured and are fighting to get medical care and fair wages and safer working conditions. I wish they would spend their money in just making it a safer place to work for the rest of us, you know, those of us that need jobs and need a paycheck, you know, rather than coming up with technology that could push some of us out the door.
Digit, company backers say, changes the game for any logistics company.
This robot doesn't need to go home and see his family, doesn't need healthcare benefits, doesn't need retraining when you change the process and how it works, and you don't have to worry about turnover and injuries and those types of things.
So considering all those things, $250,000 is sort of a bargain.
It kind of pays for itself if you think of it as 2 or 3 shifts.
But what does it mean for workers if a robot does the job?
I don't think we can expect the free market to ensure that those workers are going to land in good quality jobs. We are going to need some kind of intervention. It is often necessary for government to intervene, particularly with respect to job training. Employers very rarely take on the responsibility for training workers who are not going to remain in that employer's workplace.
Agility is also planning to open RoboFab, a soon-to-be 70,000 square foot facility in Salem, Oregon, with the potential to pump out 10,000 bots a year.
Right now, Digit is multi-purpose in that we come in and program the same robot with no changes to do a bunch of different workflows in a relatively constrained set of environments. But, rapidly it's going to start doing more and more things in the world.
NBC News tech correspondent Jake Ward joins me now on set. So, Jake, fascinating, crazy, maybe a little scary. I mean, it sounds like we're talking about not just using something to help humans do their jobs, but just replacing it entirely. Could this be a new normal on a large scale?
I mean, this is the thing, right? As a tech correspondent for years, I've had companies tell me, well, this technology is for augmenting a human or making a human's job a little bit easier. In this case, it is truly, right, out and out there to replace a human worker. And there are times, when you hear people say, well, we're going to replace, let's say I've visited, for instance, a recycling facility where they want to replace the workers there who have to work in a very loud, very dangerous, very smelly environment for minimum wage. That's a job where you could maybe argue that someone doesn't want that job. But Amazon warehouse workers, that's one of the largest employers in America. People really go for that job. And so, we're really, I think, at this sort of historic turning point where suddenly it's no longer the case of when could technology replace a set of jobs, but this is truly something that's built to do that.
So what would that mean for society? And what conversation should we be having in a capitalist society where the industry trade is controlled by private owners for profit? What does this mean for the little guy?
Right. I mean, it is literally economics 101 gets torn in half when suddenly you have to think about evaluating human beings and our worth as something more than just our productivity, our ability to carry a 35-pound object and put it up on a shelf, right? That used to be how you got paid. Now, if another thing can do that, you don't get paid for that anymore. I don't know that we have an answer in Western society for what that is. And that's why, of course, you have that former Biden labor advisor there saying government intervention may be necessary. He's talking about doing it for job training, but, we may have to do it for just the whole equation of what you and I are worth in a society where robots can do the jobs for us.
Fascinating stuff. So much to watch in the months and years to come.
So today I just happened to be talking to our acting plant manager, and there's a robot coming to our place, and I asked him directly. I was like, look, people are going to be losing jobs because of this robot. And he said, no, not yet. And the job may get eventually eliminated, but the people will still be there. And I said, well, what you think about it? And, he gave me his honest opinion. And he was like, the one thing about these robots is that they don't go on break. And I was like, shit, you're right. They don't go on break. He said they don't call out. They don't have no 3971s. They don't get in the parking lot and disappear and smoke weed all night. They don't get drunk. They ain't got to worry about going home. These robots take care of business. They just need maintenance. They invest a lot of money into technology, just so we're aware of that. Technology is here. If you don't believe me, look at these EV vehicles. Look at the vehicles they drove 30 years ago. Look at the vehicles that we have today. We have cameras and everything, don't we? Yeah. People don't even need to know how to park anymore because the vehicle does it for you. It takes away from our own brain. I say all of that because now, as you clearly saw, there are robots. Amazon is usually the innovator because they have that type of money. And I just want you to correlate that with Mr. DeJoy, a transportation and logistics genius. Can't stand his personal demeanor, but his mind is set on trying to make some money for this business. I don't like his approach, but I get it. And think about that. If a robot, one of those robots are there, do they have to worry about creep time with overtime? Do they? The creep time when you're supposed to do your 8 hours or whatever, and then you go 2-3 clicks over. I accidentally did it today. I did. I was stuck in the bathroom and ran over. They don't have to worry about time clocks anymore, really, if they replace them, right? Think about that. If they don't worry about time clocks, they don't worry about tax. Tax is what we use. That means they ain't got to worry about a lot of people in human resources, right? To take care of the paying out people. You invest a big chunk of money to take away from certain people. Just imagine if the whole workforce just happened. I mean, you heard it. They're talking about Congressmen might have to intervene in that, because then what happens to the average worker? There's so many different possibilities that happen if those robots, not if, when those robots come in and start doing a job. You heard the thing picks up 30 pounds or more. That robot that we have picks up more than that. So all of these things that are being implemented for the future is today. Just think about that. They talking about replacing. You see what the workforce is with Amazon? Screw all of that. Let's talk about me and you. If you don't have anything to fall back on, I'm not trying to gaslight anybody. I'm not trying to make anybody scared or terrified. But what is your self-value? What is your worth? Do you have anything that you bring to the post office just in case? Just in case something happens. Do you have anything to fall back on? Because as much as we can't stand this place, a lot of us take this place for granted. Think about that. We take this place for granted. And when these people talk about closing plants and accessing and you got to go this place and that place. So, he gave me an example. He said he was at the top of one state and then, they closed the plant. It was up here, the plant, and then the other plant opened up down here. So this one was closed. Now the people from here had to go down to this plant. Problem is, a majority of the people from here lived up here. So they had to basically bypass to go where their old plant was to the new plant. That's what's happening. And people are saying it's not even worth their headache. You see the videos. These people are like, man, I gotta travel to another state or move. You gotta uproot your life. People putting in a lot of years and all of a sudden you gotta uproot your life. Let's just be realistic. What if? I always said this is one of the best places to have security, job security. It is. But now when you start seeing technology step in, I'm even starting to question some of my own words. I mean, I came here with a trade. I came here as a truck driver. So I know, God forbid anything happens and my job gets, taken away, I can always go drive trucks. My postal family, what do we have to fall back on? Carriers will probably always be needed to a degree until they figure out how to use those drones. The Jetsons times is here. What do we do? Again, this ain't to scare nobody. This is one of those things that once you shut this video off, you got to really ask yourself, what's your own value? What's your own worth? Are you bringing anything to this table? Kind of like a relationship. Can't expect to hold somebody just because of your looks, just because you show up to work. What are you bringing besides your physical labor? Because all of these package companies are trying to find cheaper ways in order to move packages. Because the packages that we are ordering, us, me and you, are becoming overwhelming for the normal person. We hear it all the time. Mail handlers are complaining because it's too much work. What happens? What happens? Technology. Postal fam, this is the discussion piece. Please don't take this the wrong way. I just saw the video and it just sparked an interest to me. And I figured I'd share it with you and see, because I don't live in a false sense of reality. I don't live in a fantasy world. Reality has changed a lot of things that we have going on. I used to drive trucks that were just conky-dunks. Now these trucks are all automatic. I didn't know what the damn automatic truck was before. Couldn't picture that 27 years ago. Now it's here. They talking about having these trucks that drive by themselves. Never thought about that years ago. Y'all never thought about a Tesla. Reality. Let's wake up. Let's try to figure this out together. This is a discussion piece. What are we bringing to the table? This is JH. Different type of video. I'm out.
Unexpected expenses stressing you out? Get the money you need now with Loans for Feds, a program designed specifically for federal employees. Bad credit is not a problem. Application is fast and easy with same-day approvals. Apply now.